Hello my friends.
APP.
This is an experimental video, and what happened is that we were just sitting down to do some homeschooling and we were getting out a book that outlines some history. And before we jumped into the history, we started having a family discussion on how we approach history in general. Instead of just, well, the way I learned it in school is here's what happens. You open up the history book and here's what happened. Learn it, learn the dates, learn the facts. Of course, we all know that history is not composed necessarily of facts, but of stories, you know, that usually, as we say, the winners wrote down. But when I said we all know that, it took me a long time to understand that. Because again, as a child, I was just taught that these were the facts. So we're trying to do things differently. Instead of just teaching our children the quote facts, we're trying to teach them to think for themselves. And as this dialogue started to unfold, I was capturing it on video and just thinking, maybe people would like to just see a total behind the scenes slice of our life and what goes on, and it would give some insight into our parenting and into our children and how they learn about the world. And so that's what I did here. It's basically unedited. Tell us what you think of this. This is something we could do more of, just kind of turning on the camera at times when we're doing regular daily stuff. It's not with my good camera, the colors are bad, it's not edited really, and so maybe it'll be like this is the worst 10 minutes I could possibly spend.
In which case, turn off the video.
Turn it off and go outside.
No one's making you watch this, as I know.
But if you like this or you find value in this, let us know. We're kind of refining, relooking at what we do with our YouTube channel and kind of creating a vision forward. So help us out with that by giving us feedback. I love you all. So today we're going to be learning some history lessons. And we've been really concentrating on reading and writing and math and some other disciplines, but we're going into world history. And so this is part of our homeschooling.
Okay, so as we start out here, what is history? Like, how would you define it?
So I would say that history is someone telling you what happened in the past.
Okay.
So a really vital part of what you just said is that it's someone telling what happened in the past. You didn't say it's what happened in the past.
Exactly.
Okay, so awesome. So I know that usually we think of history as something that happened a long time ago, but I'm going to talk about something that happened just a little bit ago in the past. You were just at your writing lesson, and you and Liliana were both talking about one thing that happened. Do you remember?
So it was a time when we were out on a walk, and me and Liliana both had clothes on. I was wearing a skirt that had a certain color, and she was wearing a top that was the same color as my skirt, and I was wearing a top that was the same color as her skirt.
You were wearing reversed clothes.
Exactly. And she said it was aqua on the top and pink at the bottom or whatever. And I said, no, I think it was pink on the top and aqua on the bottom. I forget.
So you were remembering it slightly differently. So what do you think happens when there's a war that someone records, or a big thing that happened in history and lots of people are involved? Do you think everybody has the same?
Definitely, probably not, because, I mean, imagine one person is like getting mad and gets a whole army to fight the other person. And the one person writes, this person is really angry. But how do you know that's true? The other person could secretly be like writing in their own journal, I'm pretending to be angry at this one person so I can intimidate them. Or whatever, you know? So who knows? If I say that person just got really angry at me, you don't know.
You can't know exactly what the truth is.
Exactly.
Everything we thought, we didn't realize that this was, because here's this person's journal.
But that's not happening a whole lot these days. So how do you, like, I'm saying, why do we need to teach our kids something that says, well, this person was wearing pink on the top and blue on the bottom, and then the other person says, no, it was blue on the top and pink on the bottom. Why are you teaching your kids something that's totally false? If you're only reading what says it's pink on the top and blue on the bottom, then what if it was really purple on the top and red on the bottom? Then why are you teaching anybody this if it's so false? If things are false, then why do you teach anybody it? Why do you teach people things that are false?
Do you think that
why
people...
do I need to learn
Sometimes people don't know that it's true or false. They can only say, this is what we think happened. Or sometimes, like a book that Daddy and I just read, someone takes all sorts of pieces of documentation, journals and letters and notes that were recorded, and they look at all of it and they say, here's everything that I have in front of me. And they don't say, this is true or this is false. They just say, here's what I have, and make your own conclusions.
I'd be fine to learn about things that people says, I think that this is what happened. But with people saying this is the true fact, then I don't really want to be learning it, because how do you know that that's actually true?
So, what if somebody presents something as fact, and this is just a good life lesson, even if they say yesterday, this is what happened, we always remember that even though people like to pretend that they know what happened, we always know that it's just their story, his story.
Unless you're saying it to somebody else, because then you know that what you're saying is true. Like if I said, I cantered on a horse today. I'm pretty absolute, like 99% sure that I just cantered, because Emily told me that I was about to canter, and it did not feel like a trot.
Right.
And I know it's much slower than a gallop.
Now you could put that down and then say, that is fact, right? And somebody else will see yours and say, okay, let's write this down as history. And then 30 years later, you look back and you see, oh, here's a picture of me. They drew a picture of me cantering as a little kid on a gigantic horse. I wish I would have said I cantered on a pony instead of I cantered on a horse. I was so sure I was telling the truth when I said that, but I wasn't quite presenting it correctly.
You're so smart. You're getting me. Okay, then let's say I said I cantered on a pony. Then you know that what you said was true.
Yeah, so we can be very sure, and sometimes it's easier with things that are pretty straightforward like that, though.
Except for things like other facts that are trickier.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, when we project emotions and we say that this person became very angry and then they gathered up an army to attack this other person, and we might think, wow, that one person was really calm and the other person was really angry. But we have to then maybe look back and search even more carefully into history and say, okay, who wrote this history?
But sometimes you can't even know.
True.
If it's true or not, because the one person could be acting like they're angry, but they could just be trying to be like, well, I'm super angry at you, to intimidate them and be like, so they just give up right away and they're like, oh my gosh, okay, never mind. Okay, just... They could, instead of, maybe they weren't actually angry, but they were just trying to intimidate, you know?
So, I think the whole point of this discussion... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just waving at Lillian.
Organic jelly bean. Merry Christmas. I think the whole point of this is that we can't always know.
Exactly.
So, let me finish, please. And I think your daddy had something he wanted to say too, but the point is, as we read historical accounts, we have to remain open-minded to the fact that we might read something else that somebody else says is different. And so that's the fun thing about history, is you learn about it, but you can't necessarily take it as totally true. Like almost everything else in the world.
This is like about, this is kind of like the general line of what happened.
How are your jelly beans?
Good. Really fruity.
It was nice of you to share your gift with Mirabelle. Liliana.
Thank you.
So we need to go into the world, history, science, all these different things that we can learn with an air of open-mindedness and curiosity and asking, because there's a lot of people that said, well, you can never ever fly an airplane, and a lot of people who said you'll never get to the bottom of the ocean, and a lot of people who said you'll never go to the moon. And if everybody just took that as a fact, what do you think would happen? Would we have airplanes that could take us to Hawaii?
No, because...
Would we have submarines that can go underneath the ocean?
No.
Would we have rockets that can go into space?
No.
So, going in with, what do you say, Mirabelle?
With, I would say, curiosity.
Curiosity.
It's good. Asking
And-
questions.
Knowing that it's just kind of the general line.
And how about a new, so it's in general outline of what happened rather
Yeah, that's
than
what I want.
true in the details?
Like
How about a new word?
Like, one sec. Like if I said I cantered on a horse, people just know it's the general outline. Okay, Mirabelle cantered.
Yeah.
That's really all that matters.
So, if we go in with a sense of healthy, do you know the word skepticism?
Mm.
Skepticism.
Yes, I think I do.
You do. How would you define it?
It's one of it. Caution?
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Caution and curiosity, basically.
Sure.
That's what I would say.
I hear what you're saying. So you're not just jumping in and believing the thing.
Uh-huh. And we're not being like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to believe that at all. You got to be a little like, I'm curious if that's true or not. But
Maybe search.
this part also sounds a little bit true. So
Yeah.
they said this and this, but what if he says that this person got angry. That person may or may not have
Be
been
a good
angry. So I'm not going to take
investigative
that part as a true fact.
Nice.